right, amidst all the headlines around trade and the economy, we also wanted to zero in on the cryptocurrency market. Now, we started the year with a lot of excitement around crypto, and while it's been a volatile ride, it often is in crypto, we've seen a lot of developments in Washington tied to the outlook for crypto acceptance, especially in the United States. Galaxy Digital is a company that has touch points throughout the crypto economy. The company just reported quarterly results. In addition, they have announced an interesting deal more tied to AI and Coreweave, which just went public in New York today. So we wanted to check in with Mike Novogratz, CEO of Galaxy Digital. Never a dull day for you, Mr. Novogratz, and we appreciate you making some time to talk to us. First of all, let's just talk about, you've been on BNN Bloomberg many times over the years. You're listed in Toronto, but you built a business that, as I said, touches all parts of the crypto economy. Would you say, even with the volatility today, that there has ever been a moment where there has been as much interest in this area as today?
Not at all. Not at all. I think the Trump administration has unleashed kind of new animal spirits. It's not showing up in price. It did going into the inauguration. There was so much excitement and so much good news. I think we actually had a short-term market top right on the inauguration with Bitcoin at 107 and Solana at 300 and all that excitement. And so now the market is digesting that euphoria. But from an institutional interest on the architecture and infrastructure needed to move from a TradeFi world to a world of digital assets, of tokenized stocks, of tokenized fixed income securities, of 24-hour peer-to-peer trading, we're limit up in interest. And so things like custody and different decentralized protocols, everyone is looking at where to build, who to build with, and where to in the long run transact. And so there's a bit of a gap between that interest and money that will go into the space and the price of the existing tokens. And I think that could last until, end of second, maybe third quarter, until the Fed starts cutting rates, we bottom out in crypto prices and a new narrative emerges. There's a possibility that the US government actually starts buying crypto. They already have the permission to. My guess is it takes until the third quarter until they get that infrastructure set up to do so. That would be significant. And so by no means is it time to bail out of the idea of crypto. It's just with the US equity market trading as heavy as it is, and crypto's had a high correlation to equities, you've got to be a little bit cautious at this point.
Sure, and we appreciate that. And as many people know, you made a name for yourself on Wall Street. And when we think of the Wall Street firms, you think of these businesses that aren't doing one thing. They've got trading, they've got asset management, they expand into all different avenues. Is it fair to characterize the Galaxy of today as almost sort of like a new Wall Street firm that is catered around all aspects of the crypto economy? Is that what you feel like you're building today?
That was very much our plan going in, and continues to do so on the crypto side of our business. I would say we're all aspects of the crypto economy for institutions. We're just now thinking about the retail space, but we haven't been a big retail platform. The more exciting development for us is we had this beautiful, quoting Trump, beautiful, a Bitcoin mining center, a data center down in Texas, in West Texas, a center called Helios, which turned out to be the perfect campus to build an AI data center. And so we are quickly pivoting. We did a deal with Coreweave today. It's a 15-year deal. It's the beginning, I think, of a great partnership to build out what I think will be maybe one of, if not the largest data center in the United States. And so you now can think of Galaxy as both a crypto company and a data center company, almost a holding company of the two, and having a balance sheet. And so really excited about that opportunity as well. So
maybe we can spend another minute on it, because Coreweave, people are literally just getting schooled on Coreweave because they just went public in a very simplistic way, a startup that rents out access to NVIDIA chips. Can you just sort of explain how the relationship works?
Yeah, so listen, we've entered a long-term lease with Coreweave. They have clients on the other side, and their clients are the biggest users of these data centers in the world, from Microsoft and others, OpenAI and others like that. And so those guys have outsourced to Coreweave the building of the data centers that they use for their AI. And we are renting. In essence, we're becoming a realtor in some ways, right? We are building a big data center that we are renting to our partner over a long term. And so for me, the real hope is once this gets built, and there's a long way from signing your lease to collecting rent. But once this gets built, it's a real stable set of cash flows that comes in on one side of our business, which will be a nice balance to what we know continuously is a very volatile earnings stream on the crypto side.
And before I let you go, I have to tap into the Novogratz historical trading brain because we're looking at this unique environment right now with what a trade war means for the global economy and how assets trade in and around that. But you add to that now that we have the crypto economy at the same time. So since you have a lot of experience in navigating market flows, and to your point, there's perhaps more interest in crypto than we've ever seen before, how are you thinking about the way that money flows over the next couple of years?
Listen, I think, step back for a second. What Donald Trump is doing with trade is looking back and saying, if I was doing the same thing, I would actually have phrased it a little differently than his style, but I don't think he's completely off, right? We had trade agreements that went back to, post-World War II rebuilding of Europe and rebuilding of Japan, and then the growth of China that got codified in lots of ways. And tariffs against us, that probably should have been slowly changed as the GDPs of those countries grew and as the trade deficit grew, right? And warrant. And so the president seems to want in one fell swoop to renegotiate all of this and to go to fair trade as opposed to what would have been subsidized trade. It wasn't that these were stupid decisions at the time. They were actually probably the right decision. We were trying to help other countries on their feet so they could become, counterparties of ours and allies of ours. But the president certainly thinks it's time to rip all those up. I kind of think if you are changing the financial structure that we've all been comfortable with for the last 40 years, and at the same time you're changing the security structure, with the U.S. really retreating somewhat from NATO, you can phrase it how you want, with Europe now going to spend money on their own defenses. And so when you make that kind of change, it's not going to be 1 week of volatility, right? These are significant long-term foundations that which we all made our decisions on. And so I think given that we went into the year with a very expensive equity market in the US, with flows that had been 5 straight years out of the world into the US, right? American exceptionalism. It doesn't, take a rocket science to think you're going to see a weaker dollar. So being long the euro or other currencies relative to the U.S. as money gets moved out of the U.S. into the European stock market, into the Chinese stock market. And I think those flows are going to be significant enough that these are probably 2025 trades, right? That the dollar weakens, that foreign stock markets outperform the U.S. stock market, and that the U.S. has a decent correction. And we're in the process of that right now. That's not great for crypto in the short run because crypto has been correlated to risk. We like to think Bitcoin is digital gold, but right now it's trading like it's the Mag 8, it's the Mag 7 plus Bitcoin. And that's because it was seen as a risk asset, new people joining in. It's also because, the Chinese were big buyers of crypto because they didn't really have an alternative. And now the Chinese stock market's hot as a pistol. And so I would guess, though we don't see those flows directly in Chinese retail, I would guess you're seeing at least some portion of Chinese investors moving to equities instead of crypto. And so I think, we're going to find our new equilibrium. You've got to back that with, oh my goodness, we have literally been in a desert for 4 years and now we've got rain, and the garden's going to bloom, as my friend Peter Sellers used to say in Being There, that great movie. I probably dated your entire audience. I do think, the forward trajectory 6 months out, 9 months out, a year out for crypto is really, really promising. The world woke up and realized Bitcoin as a macro asset is real, and this technology that is going to literally, help grow the next 15 years is now accepted and is